we're about to dive into is probably one of the most powerful tools a person can have to create a life they love, to generate the results that they want in their life. And you're the perfect person to talk about this because you've created massive results in your life using this tool, which is mastering your 10-year vision.
I thought you were going to say hacky sack skills.
Geez, where do I even begin with Joel Brown? He is the real deal, you guys. Super authentic, genuine, comes from a place of service, comes from his heart. And he's really well known as the founder of the #1 motivational website, addictedtosuccess.com, which has achieved over 200 million views. And he's received multiple $1 million offers for this website and turned them all down to continue to pursue his vision and continue to grow his company. And he has a social following of over 2.5 million. He travels the world coaching thousands and thousands of people to really stand in their vision for success so they can turn their dreams into a reality. Joel has been featured in the new hit movie Think and Grow Rich. Like I said, he hosts the podcast Addicted to Success, which has received over 2.2 million downloads. He's sat with thought leaders such as Tony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, Les Brown, Jack Canfield, Gabby Bernstein, Gary Vaynerchuk, Jay Shetty, and so many more.
The only thing standing between you and your dreams is the bullshit story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. There's this great question you got to ask yourself, and I do it all the time. It's what's blocking me and stopping me from already being there, right? And I had to ask myself, what's stopping me? It was the fact that I didn't have enough clarity, I didn't have enough focus, and I wasn't holding myself accountable enough in my life. Goals are good for short-term achievements, but a vision is great for long-term success. And if you're thinking big, I challenge you to think bigger. Create something that's fun, that's exciting for you to work towards. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think if you're listening right now, the idea of casting a 10-year vision may seem a little bit scary, right? A little bit overwhelming. What I had to do was I had to sit down and go, what is it that I love? What is it that I'm currently good at or willing to work towards to be good at? And what solution do I believe I can bring into the world? And if you're listening right now, I want you to write those questions down. What are you good at? What do you love? And what solution will you bring to the world? 3 really important questions. And for you, it may be something else. It may be that you're a great researcher. For you, it may be that you are a great speaker. Maybe you have these insights around health where people are like, wow, how do you even know that about me? There's something about you that you have been gifted that you can tap into right now, and it's something that you're good at, right? Something that you're efficient at. Now, what you love is basically based off your values. I know you have Emil Steenveld on one of your episodes, who's also my business partner and one of my best friends. He talks a lot about values. Values are, when you're in your values, you are inspired from within. You are in spirit. Now, the difference between inspiration and motivation is that motivation is when we go for that external thing to light us up. And guess what? It's only temporary. It's very fleeting. And it's determined by the outside things to move us.
Yep.
Now, when you're aligned with your values and you're congruent with them, you're rock solid in them, you are now on fire. It's like this internal torch that's lit from within. So I had to really
fire
get
of your
clear.
desire.
Exactly. And if you have a look at your life in general, you may be really good at business, but you may be neglecting your family and friends. So is that success, right? You got to ask yourself that question. So everything is touching everything ultimately. And so it's about not creating balance in your life, spinning plates. It's about creating harmony so that the tide rises and lifts you at once, and you get to bring everyone else with you. So
important. And
that was huge for me that day.
Really, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I actually really love what you said about like how you have what you're good at and what you love, because just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should do it. And a lot of people think just because they're skilled at something that they should do it. So really tying in your values and what you love, that's so key.
Yes. And you may be listening right now and thinking to yourself, well, I haven't started my business yet. I'm working in 9 to 5. But how do I get out of this? And when do I get out of this? My big measurement would be, and this could be personal for you, you decide where that point is. But for me, I had this, what I call a condition within myself, a set condition, and a negotiation with myself where I said, if I match, when I match 70% of my side hustle, my real passion project, which was Addicted to Success, with my full-time income, that's when I go in and tell my pain in the ass boss it's costing me too much to be here.
I love that.
Right? Because there's that 30% hunger that I have. I'm like, now I can put more time. I was only putting 4 hours a day in creating Addicted to Success.
And so many people have that question. It's like, when do I leave? Like, when do I go? And that's a really great way to say, okay, once you hit this point, like having a target and then moving over and doing what you love full time.
And for the last 7 years, I've sat down with over 400 people one-on-one and taught them how to do their 10-year vision process. And we have some of my students are literally achieving their 3rd and 4th year vision within the first year. Like, this is how insane the vision process is. Like, I live it and breathe it, and it's undeniable to me that when you start living a life of intention, things start to really move. Because most of us are unconsciously bouncing through life like a pinball in a pinball machine, right?
That was me. Yeah, like The Walking Dead. We're just asleep at the wheel.
The Walking Dead. I really want to stress this is really important, that not every single thing in your vision needs to be manifested.
For all you perfectionists out there. I needed to hear that.
I know, because you're a hustler, you're a hardcore entrepreneur like me, and sometimes we do that. You know, we have these huge expectations on ourselves, and one of the things I challenge people on all the time is, let's go for great and excellent. Doesn't have to be perfect. That name shouldn't even exist in the dictionary, to be honest, right? Most of your life experiences are going to be plateaus like that. There's only a certain amount of times in your life where you start to like rocket like
accelerate.
that. Yeah, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs think that it's just this climb like this all the time, and I'd really say that like it's a delusional way of thinking, that there's going to be plateaus. They have to, because you got to pan and you need to oscillate and come down for a bit and give yourself some time to
those are actually great opportunities. Like, I found every time I've hit those like obstacles, you can call them obstacles, challenges, whatever, they actually grow me to a whole new level that I didn't even realize was possible. So I'm actually super grateful for those moments, because they teach us so much.
They're soil. You get buried and then you grow even bigger.
This is something that not a lot of people talk about. They'll love the good stuff. They'll cast the amazing, like they'll talk about everything that they want, but they're not seeing what's in the way from being that right now, from having that right now, which is what you said. So really identifying those parts of you that are holding you back.
The 3 main limiting beliefs that are running in most people's mind is, I'm not good enough, failure and mistakes are bad, and I don't have enough. You're standing here saying, I'm not going to place bets on myself anymore because my experience and my fulfillment in life is determined by my age. And like, I just can't buy that bullshit story. It's such a bullshit story. If you are unconsciously floating through life, which we all do, right? 96% of our thoughts are the same as the day before, because we're mostly driven by the unconscious. Now, that means that you only have 3 to 4% new thoughts each day. Okay, so 3 to 4%, little like tiny little shifts here and there, little shifts in experiences. So I challenge them, if you start getting intentional in your life and writing things down that you really want and actioning, because vision is hallucination without execution, right? Which is what Thomas Edison says. If you start actioning on these things, you now move your conscious thoughts and decisions and new thoughts that create change to not just 3 to 4%, but 6 to 8%. And I asked them, why would you, if you only had 10 years left in your life, minimize the fact that you could be doubling your income, doubling your network, doubling your experiences, doubling just everything across the board? Why would you deny yourself of that?
That are too young, that think they're too young for things.
Yeah. I've heard that many times before.
Yeah, I used to say that.
Yeah.
And that's also a bullshit story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, at the end of the day, these are really powerful beliefs. Because if we, and we talked about this last night, is like, it doesn't matter how much we put ourselves out there, how much action that we take, if the core beliefs we're carrying with us don't match our intention, don't match our vision. So if we're thinking, like, for example, a woman who's older thinking that there's no way, I'm too old to meet my Prince Charming, like I'm too old to be in love, it's too late now for me, that's what's going to show up for you. You're going to have a filter, like goggles on your face everywhere you go. And even if the perfect Prince Charming was standing in front of you, you wouldn't see him.
It's like, be open to the incredible opportunities around you and see what happens. Like, a lot of people shut themselves off and they deny themselves because they keep justifying the BS stories in their mind. Create a YouTube channel.
They're shitting on themselves.
Right. Should do that, right? So they don't know what to focus on. And the reason being is because they're thinking so one-dimensional. But when you start really mapping out what are the things you really want in life, I don't mean just what do you want, what do you really want in life? There's a difference in that question. And there should be a difference in your answer. And every time that you stand up and you start walking and stepping into the things you know that you're desiring to focus on, and you start creating that clarity because you're moving, and you start trusting yourself more because you're now holding yourself accountable and letting other people know what your vision is so they hold you accountable, now you start to build this confidence that you've never had before. And that's what happened. Like, I literally feel like when I started walking, like trees would part, like world would split, like people would just move out the way that weren't supposed to be there, and people that were like came to me. It was insane what happened because I
You were
started
in
walking with
alignment.
conviction. Alignment. There you go.
Get aware of your limiting beliefs. Write them down, because the more awareness you have, the more power you have over them.
I will, not I want to be. I wish. There's power in your words. Your words become worlds, right? And I wrote down, I will become a powerful, inspirational speaker. I will be speaking on stages with your Tony Robbins and Jack Canfield and Grant. And I've done all those things. I've been on movie sets with them and stages. It's coming to fruition. But I remember writing those things down, and then there was this like little like that imposter that we talk about, right? Where it comes in, it's like, are you worthy of that?
Like, why me?
Right. And the reason being is there's two worlds that exist within us. There's the aware and the unaware, right? Which is the conscious and the unconscious.
Yep. And
no matter how much you say, oh, I'm going to build a business, I'm going to do this and that, if the other part of you, the unaware part, goes, you don't deserve that, that's not happening, then guess what? If that's more powerful than the aware that really wants the business, it's going to win.
Sabotage.
People say, this is the thing, they say self-sabotage, but the truth is there is no self-sabotage, because you're always getting what you want. It's like, which part of yourself is actually getting it? Affirmations aren't as effective if you just say like, I am this, I am that, I am that. It's not powerful enough, because you could sit there and go, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, but your autonomic nervous system goes, bullshit.
Yep.
It gets people into action when they know the benefit, and it gets them committed to the goals.
And I think it's even beyond benefit. It's that purpose, like that deep purpose of why do I want this? Yeah. And people don't really ask themselves that ever. Like, why do I want it? Like, why do I want to be successful? Why do I want to be in a relationship? Yeah. We don't ask ourselves these questions. So I love that. Thank you.
Well, I mean, we're meaning machines, right? We give meaning to everything. Most of the time we're giving meaning to things that are negative and disempowering. Why not give it to things that could be building our life up? When you get really clear on the 4 dimensions of your life that are going to empower your vision the most, this is going to add extra juice to the vision process. Now, I've interviewed hundreds of successful people around the world, and what I found was there were patterns, underlying patterns of things that they were doing that were supercharging their life. I had a Superman complex. When I came out, I was like, I have to do all of this myself. And it was a perfectionist too. It was like, I have to do it all myself. I can't break off a piece of the pie for anyone else.
It's part perfectionist, part controller.
Oh yeah, it's
because we're like, I'm the one that can do it the best. No one else can do it. I don't trust anyone else to do these things. Yeah. But like, letting go of control is where we rise. We rise every time we let go of control. Yeah. We talk about this all the time. Staying in your genius. Yeah. Like, staying in your genius. Don't do things that bog you down, that dilute your power.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so many of us do that, especially entrepreneurs just starting out. It's like that's when we're doing everything in the beginning because we're just starting out. When we get to the point of starting to build that success, we're like having trouble letting go of things because it's our baby.
Yep, that's so true. It's so true. And the name of the game is whoever stays in their lane the longest wins. We forget that so much. We're comparing. What happens when you're driving in a lane and you're looking at someone else? There's a chance you crash, because you're not paying attention to your lane.
And I love what you said about progressive change, because this takes time. And what people will do is impatient people like myself will be like, will be like, okay, it's not happening yet. Why is that? Because it's like we have that. We just want the results. We want to see it now. Being patient, staying committed, no matter what, because stuff's going to come up along the way.
Oh, for sure.
And as long as we're staying true and committed to our long-term vision, which is why it's so important to have a vision, because we have something to stay committed to keep us going in alignment.
Yep. Well, and the thing too, on top of that, I love that you went there. You know, there's like a saying that's like, God will never give you something that you can't handle.
Yes, I
And
love
it's like,
that.
okay, cool. Well, I'm going to be challenged. I like to flip the coin on that and go, if you think of it in this way, maybe God's not bringing things into your life and blessing you with certain things because you're not ready to get it yet. And that's sexy. When you can do that, that's sexy.
That's sexy. You hear that, ladies? Okay, so I have an analyzer question.
Of course you do.
I'm an analyzer.
Give it to me.
I can't help it.
It's going to take you work. If you're listening right now, you have to commit to this.
Yes.
And I'm challenging you to commit to it because you can keep listening to podcasts. You know, you can keep reading books. That's only the first stage of learning. The first stage is knowledge.
So you guys have created something so special, and I'm just so grateful that I was able to be a part of it and see it and witness it and experience it firsthand.
Thank you for bringing your beautiful energy to the room. I had a lot of people come up after and say, man, Ash is a powerhouse. You know, so look, you're in great hands right now listening to this podcast, and definitely follow Ash and everything she does because she's only getting better and better in her space. She's already really freaking amazing. So yeah,